Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. April 5th, a little bit later, but I definitely wanted to get in here and be able to talk to all of you. How is everyone? This is information that a channel that I trust very much, Justin, shared today. And I trust Justin very much. I'm going to show you the comment that he refers to. And this person works for a trash hauling company. So, and I wanted to bring it to you because it means a lot of things. And remember the other day we were talking about the landfill search, and we went back and we watched that article that said the journalist, the reporter said that the sheriff said that they are going to go back and analyze what they found and what they've learned and determine if they're going to come back to the landfill. And I had skipped right over that, honestly. And just to remember that, right? And they weren't there very long, and they weren't in their hazmat suits. So it makes a little sense. This fits. It's a piece, right? It's kind of like the flashlight piece. Law enforcement's not going to, hasn't verified it. It fits. It's heartbreaking to me. Let me take that down. Welcome in, everyone, as you're coming in. So it was a post that Justin shared, and I waited to come on later because he shared it in his members and then shared it in his live afterwards. So I wanted to wait for him to have his show. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to read it to you. We're going to talk about it, what it means. But you all know, I've said all along, allegedly, it was told to us in the beginning that, they called right away in the first few minutes, right after 6 o'clock. And we found out, as soon as I found out on dispatch was 6:33, I always wondered the 30 minutes. And remember, I would say a lot, I wonder if they were waiting for the trash truck to exit. Someone was waiting, allegedly, for a trash truck to leave the neighborhood. Okay. One thing Justin also shared is that it is not accurate that a trash person contacted police because their trash can was abnormally heavy. He said law enforcement contacted the trash person and asked them if there was anything out of the ordinary that day or around the area. And he said no. Now that, and Justin shared that as well. Okay. So it is triggering. I did shed tears, but my friends, it's physical evidence if they've got it, right? It's physical evidence. So it means a lot of different things because there's one person with an alibi in the home, the silhouette, the clothing. So let's talk about it. Let's break it apart. Let's see what it could mean. And let's get to it. Thank you all for being here. Sorry, I'm not welcoming everyone as you come in. I know it's late. It's late for me. It's later than normal. I just really wanted to share, and I wanted to wait for Justin to be able to get it out on his during the landfill search. So we're gonna go over it. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, here. Sorry. Even my mind right now it's just a lot, right? Okay. So this is the post. Down here it said, like or reply. I just enlarged it so you all could see. And it says, the name's blurred. I've seen a lot of the interviews, but I missed that one. Parents definitely, this is all, by the way, for entertainment purposes only. I am sharing my opinion based on things that have been put out there in the public. We are speculating, theorizing, not accusing. This is absolutely all alleged. And we are, by the way, discussing Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, 16 years old, 15 when he was reported missing from Hendersonville, Tennessee, February 26, 2024. She says parents definitely did something to that child. They found a trash bag full of his clothes at the landfill in Kentucky last year. I know this because I work for a trash hauling fleet that tips there. And I was there when they found it. If you hope your child is found, why would you throw his clothes away? Not even 2 months after he's disappeared, in quotes. But the night before, allegedly. So the landfill search, allegedly, according to this person, they eyewitnessed law enforcement finding a trash bag full of Sebastian's clothes at the landfill in Kentucky last year. They claim that I know this because I work for a trash hauling fleet that tips there, and I was there when they found it. If you hope your child's found, why would you throw his clothes away not even 2 months after he's disappeared or run away, right? So, in my opinion, and I want to hear yours, it's heartbreaking. Hi, hello everyone coming in. Thank you, mods, for being here. So, oh, wonderful, perfect. Nick the Hat shared this info with Justin. I'm sure it was just a trash bag full. I would love to know if it was clothes. Hey, Whispering Winds. I would love to know if it was clothes from Texas Roadhouse or, I don't know, clothes possibly with other things on it. I don't know. But like I said, it always kind of in my head, trash day. And like Sonny Weatherford said, he was reported missing. He went missing before the trash and was reported missing after. And I always thought that 30 minutes, because it wasn't that first, few minutes that it was reported. 6:33 dispatch said. And I always wondered, was that to wait for a trash truck to leave the neighborhood allegedly? We speculate. Oh, not at all cognizance. I totally understand. No, I would ask the same thing. This came from Justin, and that's what I can tell you. He shared it this evening in members and then on live, and I waited to come on. Law enforcement found the clothing during their search, is what this is saying. During their search at the Kentucky landfill on March 8th, they found allegedly a bag of clothing. And cognizance, someone said in the chat that and I can't verify this, that Nick or someone gave it to Nick gave it to Justin. So I don't know. But it just, Sonny Weatherford said, according to that reporter, that they were going to analyze what they had found and what they had learned and determine when they would be, if they needed to return to the landfill. Okay. So Leslie, thank you so much. I have been trying to tell people this. The dog got a hit at the landfill, and it was on Trevor Lee's page. Is it still on there, Leslie? Do you know? Wow. Okay, so let's talk about it. If it was a dog, you saw on Trevor Lee's page. I wonder if it's still on Trevor Lee's page, Leslie. But thank you so much for your comment, your sweet donation. That information's important too. I'm going to actually make note of that just so I can follow up on that. Thank you, Leslie. So, means two things. Well, lots of things, in my opinion. But what we're going to talk about yesterday, we talked about evidence. Remember, we were just talking about it's being a digital case, and we scratched the surface by just talking about the devices in and on people or anyone who could have been around the scene from those geofencing and the pings. Okay, meaning that captures a virtual radius. Okay, and 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 gathers everyone who's in there. So there are people who should be there. There are people who it's not unusual they're visiting there or in and out. There may be people who are visiting relatives, maybe someone for whatever reason, a DoorDash, an Uber driver, and then there may be people who shouldn't be in there, or it's odd that they're in there, right? So that is digital evidence right there. And then we also have to think about Google searches from cell phones, laptops. Also, and we're not talking about, I've been researching the all the different things the FBI, the Secret Service, all of them can do. So, and that's coming up for. So hit that notification bell and welcome in everyone. So there was on Trevor Lee's page, apparently, which I want to go check, it said there was a dog got a hit at the landfill. Okay. But it means two things. The trash went out Sunday night, February 25th, around 7 p.m. KP, the mother of Sebastian Rogers, for those of you who are new to the case. Absolutely. Law enforcement does not have to disclose anything to us. It is their investigation for Sebastian. And they don't need to tell us anything. And some things have come out here and there throughout the investigation. But let's keep talking. So there's two people who have alibi, or there's one person whose alibi says they are home with Sebastian the night the trash came out. And Sebastian's mother, Katie, KP, I refer to her as, said she is the only one who was home with Sebastian that night. All doors were locked, and in the morning, Sebastian was not there, but the doors all remained locked still. Okay, Sebastian has not been, that we know of, seen on any footage or anything that has been verified by law enforcement. Okay, so what could this mean? That means one of two people took out the trash. KP, because her alibi places only her and Sebastian at the home, or Sebastian. Now, the silhouette, according to Seth, when he watched, it's like a dark silhouette. You can't determine if it's Sebastian, if it is or is not. I believe he said the garage light that's always on wasn't on. So, if that's the case, well, if that's the case, if KP took out the trash around 7 p.m. and a bag of clothing was in it, I think we need to process that a little bit. Now, if there's footage, and we don't know everything, if there's footage of someone going out to the trash later on in the evening and taking a bag, adding to the bin, the trash can, maybe that's the case. But the point being is, it's really odd the night before a child is reported a runaway, in my opinion. And I am not accusing anyone. I think it is odd. So, also, another thing that I thought of, well, could it have been Sebastian, like his mother KP said? But a lot of what his mother has said has fluctuated. Excuse me, changed, altered, deleted, omitted, added, allegedly, in my opinion, from listening to interviews, listening to her own words. Let's just say there was an emotion. It wasn't a typical normal evening, as KP says. That it is, as CP was quoted by a reporter saying, the emotional roller coaster began Sunday night. Okay, and that was back in, I think, maybe even the first interview. One parent who's home is saying normal, typical, and one is saying, the journalist is quoting the other as saying, I want to be, clear, as saying the emotional roller coaster began Sunday night. But according to mom who's home, he went to bed. Everything was fine. It was a normal day, a fun day. Okay. Now, the other option, if KP took him out, why would she have the clothes bagged at 7 p.m.? And let's talk about that. Or did she take one out later? Allegedly, because she's the only one home, so that's why I'm using her. Or did the emotional roller coaster really occur, like CP is saying? There was maybe a disaster of clothes everywhere, right on the floor. It got heated. You remember, he's supposed to pick it up right, or it all gets thrown away, and he has to throw it away usually and take it to the trash can. Could that have occurred? I don't know. We're throwing out theories, but it could. And it could explain an emotional roller coaster, an altercation. But I don't know how that leads to the rest, correct? So either way, allegedly, they found a bag of trash. And maybe that makes sense then why they weren't there so long, because they know the size of their trash bin. They had their trash bags. I'm guessing, theorizing. Someone else went through this with me because I thought it was real cool. Hi, True Crime Junkie. And they knew their trash bags. So remember when I called the landfill, they said, it's trash comes and is put in their cells. So being in that cell, the person who explained it to me, we were kind of theorizing, said then they would know, grab their bags, how many would fill up that bin, right? And then I was thinking, but what if someone took some trash to another neighbor's trash can? I don't know. Just speculating. But anyway, it broke my heart to hear it, because the night before he runs away, allegedly, the first narrative was clothes would be taken to the trash. That would mean. And he was reported missing after the trash truck left the neighborhood. So if it was, so it just, and there's only two people, Sebastian and, sorry, I'm still processing it myself. It's just heartbreaking to me. Sebastian, and KP. And I don't think it's I don't even know what we're talking about. Hold on one second, everyone. Hans, can you see what's happening? Ooh. I'm coming. Sorry. Ooh. Sorry, it kicked me out. Oh, there's two of me now. Have you all been Oh, I have an echo. Hold on. Okay. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Someone give me a 1 if you can hear me. Thank you. Okay. When I came back in, I opened a new studio. So thank you for being patient. Hello, Ida. Hello, everyone. Yes, Seth. Well, and you know what? I think about that. Thank you all so much. I'm glad you can hear me, and I appreciate it. Okay. And this is credit to Justin. He broke this news. That's why I waited. He did his members live, and I heard it, and he said he was going to go on live after for everyone. And I wanted to wait. That's why I'm much later than I normally am. Okay. Because I wanted to talk to you about this. So apparently, a a trash bag of clothing was found at the landfill search in Kentucky. And if you recall the other day, we listened to an article, a reporter say, quote, Sonny Weatherford is saying they're going to analyze what they found and learned and determine if they're going to need to return to the landfill. And I had missed that. Many of us had. Okay. So that it makes me sad. Someone in here said they heard that a cadaver, or not a cadaver, forgive me. I've got to be careful with your words, right? My words, that a dog hit at the landfill, that they saw it on, I forget who, Trevor Lee's page. Okay. So I have to be honest. I have hope, and I am a parent, and there is not a single soul who could tell me my child, they weren't, they were no longer with us unless they showed me proof. Right. And I would here's what I'm going to say. If that person left that comment and that comment came to Justin via the method it did, Seth would be aware of the comment, and if indeed Sebastian's clothing was found in a landfill, in the landfill search, Seth would be aware. So, okay, when he became aware, I don't know. And we don't know because he doesn't want us to know. Okay. Sassafrasy, I do not know what clothes were in the bag. I don't know if it was Texas Roadhouse clothes. I don't know if it was um, what he went to bed, slept in. I don't know if it was clothes that were on his floor that he had to pick up himself and throw away. Maybe some of his favorites. Hi, Reba. They were found allegedly at the landfill search in Kentucky. And remember the other day we heard the reporter, we went back and the reporter said that Sonny Weatherford said they're going to go back and they're going to analyze what they found and what they learned to determine if they're going to return to the landfill. And we also learned in that article, which I had no idea, they arrived at the Kentucky landfill the same day the trash from Sebastian's home arrived. I thought because, trash was on the 25th, Sebastian was reported missing on the 26th. By March 8th, it would have, I thought they were there days after, but I'm to be corrected. It was the first day. Austin said, who heard the fight that started at 10 p.m.? Now, Austin, you can't. Austin, you can't throw that out there, not share. Was it just say why if I'm correct, between KP and Sebastian? Why didn't they do that to begin with? Hold on, they found it long ago, March 8th. March 8th. Carolyn, yes, you do. I'm always very impressed. I know, Caroline, you do know a lot, and I'll be okay. It was just a lot to read, Caroline, and process, you know? So I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to move on. We talked about yesterday that, okay, so we have the geofencing in the and the pings, right? And that's evidence. And we haven't even gone into what the Secret Service, I was just talking to you about things. We also have the satellite imagery clear. That's digital. And then we talked about things that were on their persons, the cell phones, what could be the laptops, the Apple Watch can measure heart rate, sleep patterns, steps. It can measure to see, I guess now 11 o'clock in bed, not midnight. Now after Dateline, we're at 11. So that phone call was an hour and 20 some minutes, not 3, not 2 hours and 20. Now we are at 1 hour and 20 minutes. But my point is, I want to know if there was a fight at 10. Where was everyone supposed to be at 10? 10 is when she heard a noise. Oh my. A thud, which is back to a noise again. For those of you who missed the live yesterday, many things changed in the Dateline interview. For instance, KP went into his room, not at 6 a.m., about 6 a.m., and I think we're hedging time there because of that 30 minutes. But I know I can't concentrate on it right now. Sorry, you all. It is. It's very upsetting. So Bear 90 says I have a picture of them at the search. Both officers in the picture have tarp items in their hands. Would you share that with us? Email it if you don't mind. Of March. Thank you, Funtiski. I stand corrected. It was 10th of March. Thank you so much. And yes, Carolyn, you are very informative, and I appreciate it. And I agree. I want to know now, what about who overheard a fight? Because that's significant. Remember when Peter Hyatt, rest in peace, that great man, said something probably went down around the bedtime, the noise, the thud times. So if there's arguing around 10, that's time of the noise thud, right? So I don't know. I don't know if that's verified. Caroline, that's probably verified, right? If you've thrown it out there, or were you inquiring? I don't know what close it was. I do not know, my friends. But Leslie said, I've been trying to tell people this. The dog got a hit at the landfill, and it was on Trevor Lee's page. Thank you again, Leslie. So a dog hit. Let's be kind in the chat, please, to each other. Yes. Thank you, Caroline. The CP who had injuries on his arm, not KP. Yeah, I don't believe it has anything to do with the warrant, in my opinion. I'm not one of the officers that was issued the other day, because this is if this is 100, okay? And I do trust the source, but if this is 100, then they have had this since the 10th of March, since the landfill search. Okay. Now, and let's add, so the Apple Watch, remember, heart rate, steps, sleep patterns, the cell phones, how was that? And also that 3-hour call that became 2 hours and 20 minutes. Now it's 1 hour and 20 minutes, that he said every agency had logged it, or however CP put it. I'm paraphrasing. Did they go? I'm sure they went back to see how many of those 2-hour calls occurred before that night as normal, and after that night, making it normal. They'll also have GPS, dash cams. For those of you who do not know yet, KP added to her narrative with Dateline saying that she got in her car, went into the neighborhood, or was driving around, and stopped to ask a lady who was walking her dog if she had seen him. And she had not, by the way. Okay. But I think that, in my opinion, allegedly, forgive me, is damage control. If that lady doesn't come forth, it's a small neighborhood, it's not huge. If that lady doesn't come forward, then I'm thinking it's damage control for being caught on camera with your window up while you were driving. Also, remember, she went up to the school to look for him. And there's cameras at the school. We know that. The schools now. And now the Dateline says, and then she was driving up to the school, and just as she arrived there, she was told to turn around and come home. I'm afraid I'm, fixing the narrative to fix some things that don't match up now. Because digital, like my thumbnail, if you missed it yesterday, go back and watch that live. It's a good one. Digital information is reliable. Some people, individuals, are not as reliable as the digital evidence. Then we have, remember in Alex Murdoch's case, he said he was upstairs taking a nap at the time, of the murder of his wife and son. and they found out from his cell phone that he was taking higher paces and number of steps than he had at all the rest of the day. He was at 70 steps per minute for 4 minutes in a row. So they can gather that stuff. The dash cam. The dash cam turns on automatically with cars when they turn on and when they turn off. So that dash cam should show that lady or KP. It should show the dog coming in to view something when she stopped to ask the lady if she'd seen Sebastian. Also, there are many Ring cameras in the neighborhood, for instance, and cameras and footage and security cameras, CCTV. And you know what? Even like, for instance, the one that caught KP driving with her window up, it would also show her stopping and asking someone, a lady who's walking a dog, if they'd seen Sebastian. So that will all be documented because digital evidence doesn't lie. And we talked about, well, what physical evidence could they have? And we, unverified. Well, unverified is the flashlight video. Unverified is the audio. Unverified are the images going through the backyard, looking like two people carrying someone to the trunk of a vehicle. Unverified to us by law enforcement is the 3 a.m. car. Okay, but if that were all 100 verifiable by law enforcement and they came out and said it, that would all be evidence. But definitely a bag full of clothes will be evidence if indeed that was found at that landfill search. And we know just a couple of days ago, it's so ironic that Justin put this out today because just a couple of days ago we were talking in ours and said we found out from that reporter rewatching it that they found something and learned something. So there's two people who could have taken out the trash and put those clothes in, according to the alibi, KP and Sebastian. Could it have been a punishment? An emotional roller coaster erupted on Sunday night. Remember, KP was quoted, or CP was quoted by a reporter, one of the first interviews to say that. KP says normal, typical day. Night, evening, everything was good. Love you, mama, love you, puppies, kind of thing. Oh, and also added to their narrative now is when she went in about 6 a.m., she walked in and said, dude, you got to get up. I've never heard that before. Have you? So, oh goodness. The Dateline interview, is it damage control? In my opinion, very much so. They also shared, which I was very glad to hear, and it was a shame we didn't learn this 14 months ago. Just like he has freckles on the back of his neck. Excuse me, I'm getting a sore throat. But so anyway, we'll read it one more time. I'll read it one more time. And if you want to hear, I had permission to share Justin's stuff. He's a friend of the channel. So, but if you want to hear it from Justin's video, I don't want to take from him because he broke this news. So I just took the screenshot of this, and it says, I've seen a lot of the interviews, but I missed that one. Parents definitely did something to that child. They found a trash bag full of his clothes at the landfill in Kentucky last year. I know this because I work for a trash hauling fleet that tips there, and I was there when they found it. If you hope your child is found, why would you throw his clothes away not even 2 months after he's disappeared or run away, right? Not even 2 years. For many parents, it's decades. Many parents, it's decades, and they're still waiting for their children to come home, and the rooms are just the same. But I don't think, Amy, that has anything to do with the warrant because this happened in March. But I do, now let's also talk about this. They had more evidence than the alleged, or than the bag had closed, the alleged. Hopefully it'll be verified. We're going to learn all of that. But they had more than that because they had probable cause to be at that landfill. It wasn't just to be, on the safe side, we're going to go check the landfill. You need probable cause to get a search warrant. And probable cause means you are right. You are saying, I can show you, I can tell you, that a crime has been committed, is being committed, will be committed, and we will find something pertaining to that crime in this location. And then they have to swear on that. So there was evidence even before that was found. And there was evidence, in my opinion, before that, on February 27th, after the first day, when the Amber Alert sounded. Because let me remind you what we shared, what we went over was it yesterday, friends? It might have been when we were going over evidence and things. We went over this. And I put it in, but this will get larger for you. Okay. Let me hide our comment here. Thank you all for your comments. You have wonderful thoughts. Hide in the bushes. Yes, someone left a comment that I just read and saying that they were on site at the Kentucky landfill because they are a trash fleet hauler and they tip their trash there. And they were there when allegedly, I haven't verified it myself, but another channel, Clutch Them Pearls, who is a good source, reliable in my opinion. I trust Justin. He broke it today. That's why I'm on so late, and I'm sorry because I was waiting for him to be able to have his shows because it's his. And that's why I'm not showing the video. Go listen to him after we get off. We're going to get off here in just a minute. Clutch Them Pearls, credit to breaking this. And go ahead over there and watch his live. But I want to share something with you. They had to have probable cause to get to that landfill. And even to sound the Amber Alert, they had to know something. Let's go over it. And we know that Amber Alerts are federal, but each state establishes their own criteria. For the state of Tennessee, I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but TBI established the criteria and also are the ones who approve and sound the alerts. Okay. Tennessee's Amber Alert system rapidly disseminates information about abducted children to the public. However, not every missing child case qualifies. Law enforcement must confirm that a child under 18 has been abducted unlawfully. It's not or, and is in imminent danger of serious harm or death. Law enforcement must confirm to TBI that a child under 18 has been abducted unlawfully and is in imminent danger of serious harm or death. How did law enforcement confirm within, day 2 to TBI that Sebastian was unlawfully abducted? My guess, and it is simply a guess, sorry, I got distracted. Person must confirm is footage. The footage they had at the command centers, that they were looking at, reviewing from neighbors, all of the above. That, in my opinion, would be something they could use to confirm that they believe a child has been abducted. That a child they must confirm that a child under 18 has been abducted unlawfully. Law enforcement. So Sumner County, before February 27th at 3:00-ish, whatever, because it takes time, but that's when it was sounded. Somewhere between the 26th at 6 a.m. and the sounding of the Amber Alert, Sumner County was already able to confirm to TBI, must confirm that a child under 18 has been abducted. Has been. And, not or, because some people say, well, they sounded it because he was autistic and needed his medicine, and is in imminent danger of serious harm or death. Okay, a detailed description of the child, the suspected abductor, and any associated vehicle must also be available. If these conditions are met, local law enforcement submits a request to the TBI. So this takes time because they've investigated. They have evidence to confirm that Sebastian, under 18, has been abducted unlawfully and is in imminent danger of serious harm or death. Then they submit a request for the Amber Alert to the TBI. Then TBI evaluates the case. Then, if they approve it, they activate the Amber Alert. So all of that occurred between 6:33 a.m. on February 26th, and I believe they saw the Amber Alert. I'm at a different time. I want to say 1 or 3, but I can't remember that. If anyone else remembers, I want to say 3. So all of that occurred and had to occur before it was activated and within that short period of time. So law enforcement, when Seth and Tony say they have a lot of evidence, that's why we're doing these last few shows. Yesterday's show, today's show, and we're going to continue on because I've been researching the FBI, the Secret Service, and other digital evidence, ways they pull digital evidence, and different digital evidences they get. Okay, touch DNA, all that from their laptops, their phones. Okay. Okay. I thought it was the 8th of March. We'll just, I think it was the 8th of March. It could be the 10th. They were there a couple, well, how long were they there? They were just there a short time. But anyway, so all of that occurred by the 27th when the Amber Alert sounded. Okay. So that is evidence that had to be there in order for them to confirm he has been, not could have been, has been abducted unlawfully. So not only do they have the phones, the laptops, the pings, okay, all that digital evidence that's on there, the Apple Watch measuring heart rate, did it escalate at 10 p.m.? Was the heart beating faster at the Texas Roadhouse? Were a lot of steps being taken around 10 p.m.? Now, allegedly, a fight was heard at 10 p.m., overheard, non-verified, just in the chat, but by a very reliable source, I consider. Right? Think about it. So there's evidence. Now there may be a trash bag of his clothing, audios, flashlight videos, images in the backyards. Those have never been verified by law enforcement, but that could be evidence as well that they have. They could also have evidence of alibis, people being where they say they're supposed to be and not where they are. You know what I mean? Remember, Dog said that once. Julie Bellinger, thank you so much for joining. Welcome to our big happy family. We do our reunions Saturdays. We did one today. I shared a sneak peek at some of the things I had learned from talking to the CPS investigator before I get it all ready for our live. It was a great time. We learned a lot. You all asked great questions that I'm going to bring to her. I just have not had a chance today. But welcome, everyone. Please welcome Julie. Thank you so much, Julie, for joining us. We will see you Saturday. It's truly hard, Caroline. It's sad. It's the whole thing's just heartbreaking. Caroline, I'm so glad you said that because I wanted to point out something. I would believe evidence, and I said something the other day, not on live. I agree, because in one of the exhibits from the first RICO, it is stated that CP is at the Texas Roadhouse. Okay? And I've always wondered, would that have made it into an exhibit if it wasn't true? And then now Michelle, I'm going to get to your question next. Caroline, may I ask, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, is the footage that we have seen the public? Because I believe I've seen CP in that footage. Can you just verify if he's in the footage we've seen or not? Or am I taking it too far for you? Okay, and then someone asked a question, another great question. Nope, we just know that they did geofencing, and I'm talking about all the evidence because everyone's getting concerned. You know, maybe they don't have evidence, and we've gone over so much evidence they could have just from the watches, the phones, the GPS, the dash cam alone can prove whether or not she stopped to ask someone who was walking a dog. And the only reason I'm saying KP, because her alibi is she's the one home. Okay. But it'll also have his GPS. I don't know if he has a dash cam. Remember, Dog said they were in the Brinks, allegedly in the Brinks van without the dash cam on. Okay. Well, I think there's a lot of evidence, like Seth and Tony are saying. And that's what I've been trying to point out. And then, ironically, out comes this, showing there's some physical evidence, allegedly. And so there's evidence. And I believe what's happening is they are working to build a rock solid case so we do not forgive the way I'm going to say it. This is my opinion. Have another Casey Anthony walking around. Allegedly, in my opinion. Some evidence pointing. Oh my goodness. Some evidence points to CP being at Texas Roadhouse via photography. With that being said, I strongly believe Sebastian saw CP in the restroom. Just my opinion. Okay. So I'm going to ask now. I might as well throw it out there. My opinion out there. My opinion was that I thought I saw CP standing in the hallway near the bathroom with a baseball cap on. But I don't know if that could have been, he's got brown hair, facial, a beard, wears a cap. That could be a lot of people. So that's why I'm asking, could I have seen that? You all are great. In the bushes said she pulled into a parking spot at the school, then immediately backed out and left. She didn't search around the school like we've heard for over a year. Okay. And now that they know Now that, in my opinion, now that they know, law enforcement probably knows that no one was driving around the school searching. We have to add that as I was getting to, right when I got to school, I had to turn around and go home. I was told to turn around and go home. That's just my opinion. Damage control. Cognizance. What I'm having a hard time with, if everything we know was 100% verified, they'd be in prison. I agree. That's why I've so many times have said, why aren't they? However, they get one shot. And they can go without locating Sebastian. They can go forth. But they need they need to build a strong case because they have one chance, or Sebastian gets zero justice for having his life put on hold, stopped, on hold, or paused, or whatever for 14 months. Right? So I don't know, Cognizance. I wonder the same thing, but I don't either. That's such a great statement because I struggle with that. Why aren't they arrested, right? And just like I shared with you all, I'll save it for my video with the CPS investigator. It's interesting information we learned. It has nothing to do with Tennessee or the case. But anyway, friends, so we're going to wait to hear. I have a feeling, if I'm hearing correctly, someone gave it to Justin on, from at night. I would say it's verified, given to him to be able to release, but I can't say that, okay? But I trust Justin, so let's see what goes on. It will be very heartbreaking, but if that's true, there is only two people who could have thrown that in the trash that night, according to KP's alibi, herself or Sebastian. And it brings up a lot of questions, but that could also be more physical evidence. So I'm telling you, as we talk, and I'll show you, we'll go over, I'm also doing that research on the FBI. Yes, they did say they threw things out, Caroline. You're right. Toys too. That's what I was going to say. My email is crimetimebuzz, the name of the channel, at gmail.com. Thank you, Leslie. And I won't probably check it till morning. I'm sorry. I'm a little tired. My nephew came in late last night. So, Caroline, I'm so glad you said that toys too. Well, snakes are gone, you know. Because it makes me think about this. What else was found in the other bags? Okay, I'm sure they didn't just have one bag in there, right? What items were in the other one? This person says they saw clothing. What was in the other ones from the home? Now, if they found toys, switch, things that he could have left on the floor. No, the switch was there. If they found toys or some of his favorite Legos or things like that, then thus would make me think an emotional roller coaster, as the reporter said, CP said very early on. It could have been the first interview, like I said, local, by the way. And KP's been saying normal, typical. We had a great day, great night. And he's saying an emotional roller coaster. It all started with an emotional roller coaster on Sunday night. It all started Sunday night with an emotional roller coaster, something like that. But I don't know. I truly hope $500,000 reward fund, Barbalua. That's right. And that's another thing we discussed. Why would a parent minimize an almost $500,000 reward? We went into what rewards do. They solve cases at times. They incite the national media to get, to re-sparks the media. It motivates people to call in leads. Why in the world would a stepfather call it a joke? Why would you minimize it to the public? So now what I've seen today is FBI reward 50,000, Dog the Bounty Hunter 300 and I forget what it was, 97,000, I think. Okay. Now, but it doesn't make sense. You'd be screaming. Think of all the people with missing children who would love to have that amount. They'd be screaming it from the rooftops. But we have someone minimizing it, calling it a joke. I don't know. Allison, this came out on another channel, a trusted channel, who often has firsthand info in this case. And shared this tonight. Okay. And I'm coming on later because I wanted him to share it. And I didn't. I'm not sharing his show for you because he broke the news. So I wanted to I clipped took a photo of the comment, but go over and watch Clutch Them Pearls because he does have the video. I believe it is titled, This is Very Interesting. Let me check. I will get you the title. Okay. So $500,000 reward. A parent saying it's a joke. No one coming forward. Will this entice someone to come forward? Let me get you that name. But this could mean a lot. Yeah. Well, this is very interesting. It looks like he's live right now. Is he still live? Okay. So my friends, thank you so much for being here. I want to see if there's anything else I should be seeing. That's another thing. Yes. They did not not only show Sebastian's bedroom in their interview, the P-Foots, they didn't use their home. And yesterday I told you if that happened, my heart was going to sink because I was going to be imagining a bare bedroom. And then the next day we hear allegedly, possibly, but I believe it, or I do believe it. That a trash bag of his clothes was found at the landfill. And I wonder what was in the other trash bags from their home. Let me see. Let me see what you're saying here, dear. Can we talk about this? Seth said Sebastian had some issues he was going to work on before he came to live with him. We know he was essaying. Seth said he also said she would show himself to others in the restroom. What we are, let me go ahead and explain that to you. Thank you for your comment. From what I have heard from Seth was arranging for Sebastian. He was on a waiting list. Sebastian, as we know, had trauma from something that occurred to him, was done to him by an older child in California at his home at the P-Foots. Okay. Now, Seth said that they had some things they were going to work at. Well, that he had some issues they were going to work on while he was, I'm trying to phrase it properly. Forgive me, you guys, if I sound chopped up, that they were going to be working on while he was doing online schooling. The trauma that he had been through, proper ABA therapy that was going to be coming to the home daily. So he was going to get that. So Jules to Kelly, what I heard Seth say is not that that Sebastian had issues. No, Sebastian was going to online school, and they were going to address the trauma and get him the kind of assistance he needs, and the ABA therapy, which is, some helping with daily skills, social skills and things. What I believe is the issues. Let me take a little drink here. It wasn't the issue that Sebastian had issues that he had to work on beforehand. Seth had issues he was working on to make it work for Sebastian, his education, being able to get the ABA therapy, which he needed, his other counseling, and Seth's work schedule. And he got him and get him off the waiting list. And he did. So I think that might be being a little misconstrued. But I did not hear the other one. Yes, KP had him, KP and CP at their home. They gave the underwear all away. And it went to Seth's home. And by the way, Jules, thank you for your sweet donation. It went to Seth's home, the whole box of them. And I'm confused as to why, when we gave a description, because it is unusual. If you're wanting someone to search for your runaway child or your missing child, you want to give accurate information. It would be very important to say, if you see a pull-up or a depends or a whatever you want to call it, diaper, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, a pull-up, it could be Sebastian's. He doesn't wear underwear. That would have been the responsible thing to do, in my opinion. But there is a huge reason, in my opinion, why you wouldn't say that. First of all, because they know it's humiliating and belittling, in my opinion, allegedly. Second of all, because of what it signals, in my opinion, allegedly. Thank you so much, Jules, for your question, and I hope I clarified it. I haven't heard the thing about the bathroom, so I don't want to comment on it. And I know a lot of, I'm not sure what the boys' bathrooms are like anyway. I hear I don't know. I do not know one. But yes, I know all the other rest, I hope I clarified it correctly from how I heard it. Maria, thank you so much for your super sticker. Much appreciate all of you for being here so late tonight. I will be on tomorrow. Thank you, YouTuber, for sharing Justin's link. Thank you so much. That is where the news broke. He has good information. Friend of the channel. We have permission to use his content as he does mine, and we will see where it goes from here. But I find as we're saying things, we're talking about different pieces of evidence, and oh, look, at the landfill they found something, then it was released. That comment was released. So I think if we look in a pattern, maybe things are working. But there seems to be a lot of evidence that we've been able to discuss just in the last couple of days. And I haven't even brought up yet the FBI, Secret Service, and all that, and at-night intelligence. So you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Yes, hope floats. It takes a long time. And Austin, please email me. And Caroline, who was it who said about Austin, will you email me, please, where your source is regarding someone overhearing a 10 p.m. argument? Because that aligns with the noise and the thud. And Peter Hyatt had always said he wondered if something went down during that time, and it's registering with KP that's why it came into the narrative. Well, my friends, prayers up. We've got to bring this young man home, all the children home. Bring all the children home. Welcome, Julie. Julie, thank you so much for joining our family, our big group. Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern time, we gather. We have a good time together. Always something comes up or we learn something. And we will look for you next Saturday. I appreciate all of you here. And by the way, mods, thank you. You always do such a wonderful job. And I want to always remember to thank you. And thank you, everyone in the audience, in the chat, in the bushes. Sebastian's Army, we are. And don't forget, if you want to volunteer for Sebastian or you want your packet, don't forget your packet of flyers and bracelet. I think they even give t-shirts, they said. Go to wearesebastiansarmy@gmail.com. And also you can let them know you're willing to volunteer and they will let you know how you can help. And if you go over to Seth's channel, please subscribe if you haven't. He is the father. He has put in his community post an amazing database of phone numbers and email addresses and snail mail addresses and fax numbers that we can call from each one or send flyers to each one of the United States. Amazing. So if you missed his last live, Seth Rogers, a man on a mission, controlled. I was so proud of him, conducted himself so well in spite of everything he's enduring. Help him keep the strength. We will stand by him. And Sebastian, we're going to bring you home. Talk soon, friends. Thank you all.